Well, hackers could bring down the power grid within 2 years, says the NSA. And we've got Siobhan Gorman joining us now from Washington, D.C. And there she is. Siobhan, this is not such good news.
Well, yes, the director of the National Security Agency has warned in meetings at the White House and other private meetings that this loose collective anonymous could acquire the capability to, in a limited way, take out power sometime in the next year or two.
Peter?
Sorry.
No question. Okay. So far, Anonymous hasn't done anything this diabolical as to bring down. They've more been an annoyance, haven't they? They've been sort of, will do denial of service attacks on various websites like Visa, MasterCard, eBay, that sort of stuff. This would be a step further. Why does the NSA think they're going in that direction?
I think that it is mainly an assessment just of the trajectory of the general cyber threat and the fact that Anonymous has so many far-flung members, so to speak. In addition, we've seen Anonymous starting to take part in, larger negotiations. For example, last fall, they made this announcement that one of their members had been captured by a Mexican drug cartel and threatened to release identifying information about members of the cartel if their member wasn't released. Anonymous later announced that their member had been released. And then last week, the group announced that they were going to launch a campaign at the end of March to, quote, take down the internet. The cybersecurity specialist I spoke with last week said that they did not think that the plan that Anonymous outlined would actually make the internet sort of render it unusable, but at the same time that does show that they are sort of voicing a more destructive intent these days.
Would they give an exemption for digits? Because that would be, then you could get all you needed, right?
Yes, exactly. You can request a carve out. You can suggest that to them via Twitter.
Peter, you're itching to get in now.
Well, I'm just catching up here. So the government is saying that they believe Anonymous has the capability to shut down the national power grid or affect the national power grid?
That they will in the next year or two.
And so because right now, as you said, they've been doing these denial of service attacks, which are pretty much like getting a large group of people to sort of run through a subway station, right? They're going to jump the turnstiles. There's not a lot you can do about it. But it's not very sophisticated. It's just sort of brute force. I would assume, or maybe hope, that shutting down the national power grid would require a lot more sophistication. So are they saying that they are indeed getting that additional knowledge or technology they need to do that?
Yeah, I think the idea is that we are talking about something approximating the East Coast power outage of several years ago. This would be more of a localized shutting down of power that might look similar to what would happen in the event of a storm. But the difference is Anonymous is the type of organization that then would make an exploit like this public, and that would sow a lot of fear and could prompt folks to try to copy it. And I think that is where you start getting a little bit more of the government concern. And I should caveat that the 1 to 2 year prediction was from the NSA director. There are others in senior folks within the U.S. government that peg it at maybe more 3 to 5 years. But basically, there's a consensus that in the next few years that Anonymous or a group like it could acquire that kind of capability, which until now has really been seen more to be something that the Chinese or the Russians or a state government would be able to carry out, but not one of these sort of more loose hacking types of groups. The other concern that the U.S. government has is just that you may start to eventually down the line see collaboration between members of a state government and members of Anonymous, and so they could provide that kind of capability to a member of Anonymous who could then carry out an attack on the power grid.
Siobhan, there's a conundrum here, and I'll be very quick with this. If they shut down the power grid and then make it known that they did it, this is Anonymous we're talking about, how's anyone going to know, because there's going to be no power, right? You see what I'm saying?
That is very true, but the idea is that it would probably be localized, so those who do have power would learn about it.
Okay, well, I'd like to keep the power, if that means anything to anyone. But thank you very much, Siobhan Gorman of the Wall Street Journal.